everyone. Welcome to Warp News Showdown, the best 40K game show on the internet. I should probably think of a better tagline, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. I am Seth the Mad Dok, your host for this excellent experience. And today I'm going to be joined by three panelists. We'll get to them in a minute. But for those of you that maybe you're watching this the first time on Joe's stream or over on my channel, this is a weekly show that I do where I bring together the smartest and sharpest brains in the 40K community. And I ask them some very topical, hard-hitting questions. And then I, being the most important person in the community, judge whether or not their answers are correct or not, and award them points based off that. But if you're watching the show for the first time, thanks for joining me. If you're seeing this on my YouTube channel, please hit the like and subscribe and share and all that. Help the algorithm, all that fun stuff. But let's bring on our hosts, or our guests. I'm the host. To my left, that's Francois. You guys know Francois. Francois, you're a two-time winner of the show, correct?
Yes, and I'm only here because I have nothing better to do on a Friday night.
That's true. Above me is JT, returning winner. He's only a one-time winner.
Just once.
JT's of Playing on Tabletop. Francois, I've changed your from line now. You are now from Warped News because I think you've appeared here more than you've appeared on your own show.
Well, in the last month, definitely.
Yeah. And then over to our upper left, we have Noah Bedome. Noah is from the Best Overall Show. And that's also the name of your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, but also Aegis Games on TikTok.
This fun fact, Noah and I both have been experimenting with TikTok. And so two bald, late 30s men are trying to learn how to TikTok together. It's been a great experience.
I have a small advantage because I have a 22-year-old daughter. So I've been feeding Seth the tips that she's been telling me.
Yeah, we could bring JT into it and really just have a bald coalition of old men trying to TikTok together.
Let's go.
All right.
No.
Are you so for everyone at home, as I ask questions, you might hear a nice little positive ding and see the score goes up under Noah, or if I don't like his answer, maybe a negative ding and the score goes down. But that being said, let's get into our first question. It's a nice warm-up for these boys. Generally speaking, you three are all considered very, very enjoyable, delightful people to hang out with and game with in the community. I, on the other hand, have sometimes been accused of having resting bitch face. So what are some of the techniques that you three use to make yourselves so extra lovable? And let's start off with Noah.
Oh, that one's good. So, extra lovable. I'm a hugger. So, number one is lots of hugging. And I think number two is I always say, whatever you're good with, man, we're just here to have fun.
All right. Nice positive outlook. Francois, how do you be so lovable?
So I try to shame people into having a good game because you see people that don't want to have a good game. If you tell them, listen, I know you're better than this. You can do it with me. And then you peer pressure them into having a good game. Generally, that'll work. The trick is to manipulate people, you see. You give them positive energy, and they reflect that positive energy back to you. And if they give you negative energy, you give them positive energy anyway.
All right, fair enough.
Like the dark side.
That was a
being
trip.
nice.
That was a true journey. I always find something to compliment my opponent on. Whether it's a paint scheme, whether it's a shirt they're wearing, whether it's a jersey, whatever it might be, I find something positive that we can share common ground with. And then I always try to keep a smile on my face. I remember I'm a grown man playing with toys. This is for fun. This isn't that serious. And the ultimate secret, which depending on which state you may be living in, it may or may not be legal, is drugs.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. We're having a good one. All right. Now that we kind of got ourselves loosened up, let's get some real hard-hitting brain teasers here. October has just passed, and along with it, I have completed my annual tradition of watching all 13 Halloween films. So of the 13 Halloween films, which one would you rate the highest and which one would you rate the lowest? Let's start off with Francois.
Seth, I have a confession to make. I am a scaredy cat, and I cannot watch horror movies. So while I know that Halloween is a horror movie series, because I'm not quite that uncultured, I have never seen any of them.
Yeah, I don't know what else to do with you.
I deserve those things.
JT?
So the OG Halloween has got a real soft spot in my heart because I remember watching that as a kid and literally not being able to sleep for weeks. But here's the hot take. Halloween 3 is the best and the worst. Because that stupid song will stay in your head for months.
Yeah, it will. Silver Shamrock. JT, stop. JT, stop. Noah.
So I'm gonna echo what JT said. Number one, like how just offensive that movie was to like the 90s mom crowd or 80s mom crowd, like at the time. Absolutely fantastic. And then the most recent one, not most recent one, it was in recent memory where I forgot the number, but the prison bus crashes and he gets out and he just goes on another murder rampage, but it's like high production value. That one.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like basically all the Halloweens. There's a bus crash, Michael gets loose, stabbing, move on with life.
So in my defense, I grew up not speaking English, so you know.
Stabbing is a universal language. I don't.
Yeah.
The main character, Michael, literally doesn't speak. It's a dude wearing a Shatner mask, painted white, and overalls stabbing people. That's the entire.
Shatner mask.
It's William Shatner.
It's William Shatner.
Yeah. Man, I could go on for days on the Halloween trivia. But
see, technically, Shatner's from Montreal, so Francois should know this.
Yeah, exactly.
I do know that William Shatner's from Montreal. Yes, there's a William Shatner building at McGill University.
All right, this is one from one of our listeners that I stole and made this my own. JT and Noah both appreciate a really well-painted army as it helps elevate the game. JT being part of Play On and Noah being best overall. But some players might struggle with either the skill or the time
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I didn't say anything. To reach a really high painted standard. So they turn to commission painting services. These can be quite expensive depending on the level that you want your army painted to and the overall size of your army. Not just points, but number of models. What is the most depraved thing you would do for a free commission painted army? Let's start with JT.
Oh, Jeebus. What haven't I already done? I think that's the proper question. Time constraints are amazing, and when you want to get stuff ready to go and you don't have a lot of time, having somebody to paint them for you can be really, really helpful. I would eat 4 corn dogs in a single sitting. That's what I would do.
I would do that for free.
I wouldn't.
Noah?
So as a habitually big dude, there's a stigma on big dudes that we smell. I always make sure that I am not the sweaty, smelly guy. I might get sweaty, but I always make sure I smell good and I've got a million deodorant. So what I would do starts about a week before an RTT is I would completely throw out all forms of hygiene for the week leading up to Saturday and then attend the RTT in the smallest, least air-conditioned building possible, reeking like literally an avatar of onion.
And I assume this is for some sort of Nurgle demon army.
I mean, at this point, I'm committed. Whatever you give me, I'm good with.
Francois, what would you do for a commission painted army?
I'm not sure I can follow that. You'd have to ask my commission painter, Max. Yes, I would pay money, a lot of money. That is definitely something that I could do. Jesus Christ, that onion smell thing just broke me. I'm sorry. I'm done.
It's the worst.
The stench of
the fact is, we all know what that smell is. We all have smelled it. We've all walked into a store and walked past someone and been like, "What?"
And no one on this call is little. Francois is the littlest of all of us, but no one on this call is little.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Accusations of cheating are always swirling in the community, with devious individuals always trying to find a new way to get one over on their opponents. What is one method of cheating that you have used that is not well known yet? Noah. Francois.
As far as I know, I've never willingly cheated in a game. I've certainly misplayed rules because we all do that from time to time, and it does feel bad. I've had games where the next day I wake up in the morning and go, "Oh my God, I misplayed this."
The most Canadian
and I
response.
Yes, well, to be fair, it's true, and I feel horrible. And then I just PM the guy. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I misplayed this. This is so bad." So I'm sorry. I'm very boring and Canadian, and I don't know.
I mean, usually when I misplay, it's to my opponent's advantage. We
Yeah.
call it Noah upgrades,
All right.
where I like start playing at the beginning of the tournament, like picking up a new army, and I'm playing like Lord Invocatus with a 3-up armor. But like game 3, I find out he's a 2-up, and I get an upgrade.
There you
Oh,
go.
do you remember back when Leviathan Warriors were a thing? I spent the first month of that winning tournaments, misplaying my toughness one lower than it actually was, because all Tyranid models back then were strangely higher toughness than I thought they should be.
You don't need that.
Oh, I still won.
JT, how have
too-
you cheated that no one's caught on to?
I too have had the accidental upgrades or downgrades. I played Yuri and Rikarth, or all my homunculi for 3/4 of 9th edition with only 4 wounds instead of 5. That was
God,
brilliant.
no, 9th edition Drukari. That's what you get for that.
But
Sorry,
here's
I
the
was
real
triggered.
kick, though. Here's the thing.
I was
The
triggered.
thing is, though, I'm an old man, and it's very easy for me to forget things, and it's entirely possible that I will forget rules completely and not remember that they're like Francois, wake up the next day going, wait a minute, is that how that's supposed to work?
It's called edition bleed. You get a little bleed over from the other editions.
I call it old timers disease.
Yeah, that's true. All right. WTC applications are in the process for many national teams right now, and a lot of teams are in the process of reviewing their applications. And every team uses their own criteria to decide who's going to be on their team. But I want to know, if you were stuck with the same 8 to 16 people all year long while preparing for an event, what characteristics would you look for in those people besides the use of deodorant?
Well, I actually can answer that question, because as someone who has been stuck prepping for the same event with the same 16 to 20 team players all year long, ability to communicate effectively is probably my number one. The issue is, how can I say this politely? People who are extremely good at things, including at Warhammer, sometimes are not, and I include myself in this, are not the best at taking constructive criticism. So when you put 16 egos together in the same little box, and that box is a Discord server for, most WTC teams, and then these 16 peoples have very different ideas of how specific armies should be playing, I think ability to communicate and de-escalate conflicts is probably the number one thing that you should be looking for.
Yeah. JT, if you were stuck with the same 8 to 16 guys for a year playing 40K, what would you look for?
Echoing the same: conflict resolution skills, communication skills, the ability to not take oneself too seriously. Remember, it's just a game. But the biggest one is you got to have a sense of humor. There's some silly moments in this game, some genuinely silly moments, and you have to be able to laugh at the ridiculousness of the fact that we're grown men playing with plastic space Barbies.
It's true. Noah, you did WTC this year. What are your thoughts?
So for me, it's got to be my number one with like any team ever, regardless of Warhammer. Thing is, everyone needs to have a sense of self-worth that is not tied to the game they are playing, right? If Warhammer is the thing that makes you feel like you're worth anything, I do not want to play 40K with you. Like if I choose to, right? Like if I have to, we play an RTT, great, whatever, or a GT. But like, I want to know that you accomplish things outside of 40K that you are proud of that mean more to you than war dollies. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I was really expecting you to say something about tolerance for tequila after your experience with Team Mexico.
So that's to be on Team Mexico. If you can't drink tequila, so I showed up. And literally, while my bag was still packed, before I'd even checked in my hotel, I was 6 tequila shots deep before I even saw my hotel.
Team Mexico, they know what they're about.
I love Team Mexico.
So speaking of traveling for events, Kicker, my buddy Kicker, head of the Challengers Cup, he's continuing to try to innovate in the realm of events. By this time, offering a associated travel agent with Challengers Cup, and they promise to tailor the event, the travel to your experience. So I wanted to know, as gentlemen that enjoy the finer things in life here, what is the ideal travel arrangement for you to go to an event? Let's start with Francois.
So, do I have to pay for these ideal travel?
No, just what's your magical dream? Yeah, magical dream, no budget.
Fine. If money's no object, then obviously you got to fly first class, because if you're flying to an event, especially because you're bringing your miniature case with you and they never fit in those overhead bins, and I'm tall, you guys are all tall, those economy seats, terrible. So you got to go first class. And then you need to be picked up from the airport. A limousine be great, but whatever. SUV's all right too. You need a
I
big
have
car.
had the limo service before. That's good.
All right, there you go. Because we all have these giant miniature cases, and then the luggage, and then you need the leg room. So you get picked up by a driver, so you don't have to stress. Don't need to get a rental car. You get to the hotel, and this is key. This is key. Your own room, because we all have roomed with people at wherever events that either snore or smell or are loud. Own room. That's the best.
All right. JT, what's your ideal travel experience?
Private jet, private transportation, private room, of course, suite preferably because I might want to entertain, and then personal valet. I got to have someone who's going to get me lunch, who's going to fetch my drinks, who's going to fit my clothes and lay them out in the bed for me in the morning. I don't have to think about anything. I just want to show up, roll dice, and be there. My army gets moved from table to table. I have my own personal valet. His name will be David, and David and I will be fast friends.
Do we know who David is? Hold on.
Yes, we do. David is my personal valet. I don't care if he's not named David. This is my experience. That's David.
He just wants David Gaylard to be his personal valet.
Noah, your perfect experience.
So I have traveled a lot as a single tournament warrior, going to faraway tournaments by myself. And I've always had lots of miles. So I've always traveled in pretty good accommodations. So for me, it's actually a trip, whatever the trip is. Obviously, seats that aren't uncomfortable, that's fine. But going with somebody else who I enjoy their company, right, who's also going to play. And then one thing I experienced at LVO is we actually had our armies driven down the week before and put in like holding. And they just were at my table already, like ready to go when I showed up to the event.
All right.
Right. And so that, and basically that relatively comfortable accommodations and someone to spend time with who doesn't piss me off, that would be great. Oh, and also a bunch of, depending on what state you're in, drugs in the hotel room afterwards and playing video games to relax.
Because yes, after our long day of gaming, you know what we need?
Dude, best LVO I've ever been to involved like 2 hours of gaming after the tournament. So incredibly inebriated on green stuff that I could not walk.
I've seen several of those people at LVO over the years. All right.
Me and Kazra, let's go.
Guard and Sisters are about to storm the meta, creating a nearly insurmountable mountain to climb to reach those top tables, meaning we're going to have to deal with a lot of Guard and Sisters players. Which player base is worse to interact with, Guard or Sisters, and why? Let's start off with JT again.
Oh, man, this is a tough one. I hate to be super negative, but I think I'm going to go with Sisters are worse than Guard. Sisters are newer, and if you get the old school that has the metal models, maybe they're better than a Guard player, but Sisters players, it's new, it's fancy, it's look at my barely covered in paint models that I didn't actually bother to care about, and I'm just going to play Bringers of Flame, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're going to cry in Toughness 3. Sorry, I had a moment there. I'll be okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm with you.
Right.
The PTSD. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's Sisters.
Noah.
It's hands down, Noah questions asked, I'll fight you over it. It's Guard. Because there are plenty of great people who are Guard players. I like David Gaylord. I like lots of Guard players. But the vast majority of them are like into the lore to the point where it clouds reason. Don't have the time to paint their models. So it's just like gray with slap of blue. Here's my tanks. And then infantry. Usually incredibly slow. And if you don't get that, what you get is former military guy who is just so focused on the accuracy of the Imperial Guard that he can't actually enjoy the game. So yeah, Guard, hands down. I have had so many bad games against Guard players.
Okay.
Francois.
So I'm going to have to agree with Noah here. And I would like to preface this answer by saying that I have a fully painted Talarn armored column on my shelf. It's one of my hobby projects. I've never played it, though, because playing Guard, it's not for me. And it's not for me for many reasons. But one of those reasons is Guard is an army for special players. Because I'm going to give you an example. I read a Reddit post today. I know that should be a minus point because I read a Reddit post. But it was explaining how that specific Guard player...
I want to clarify. I gave you points because you realized that you should have lost points.
Yes,
Continue.
so So that specific guard player in the guard subreddit today discovered what objectives were, and that you could, in fact, charge tanks to contest objectives. And it was this revelation in his life, and that guard players, if they only knew that scoring points won you games, their win rate would be more than 49%.
Poor guard players. Now, Francois, you have set me up perfectly for our last question today, because our last question today involves Reddit. And Reddit has continued to be both the source of support for the show when I post about our show there, and critiques of the show when I post there. Specifically, the critiques seem to be coming from Redditors that have not actually seen the show. I have to explain the questions to them. So, why are these Redditors the worst portion of our community, and what should the code phrase be that a Redditor that did watch the show to use in their post so that we know they watched the show? Let's go with Noah.
I think so. I'll start with the code word. Code word should be not 400/0. And here's why. Because I freaking hate the people with 400 posts in a Reddit thread and 0 hours played on a game, right? Like if you don't have the experience, if you didn't go through and contribute to like being part of the thing, we don't want your opinion. Play the game, then give us your opinion. That's what we like. Don't tell me that, I don't know, Seth should do better hosting a show when you've never hosted a show and haven't even watched the show. Don't tell me that crap.
Yeah, I'm definitely not biased by that answer. Francois?
I mean, all right, so the code word should 100% be orcs are the best, because only people who have watched the show would know that Seth is an orc player. So there you go. You've established your bona fides right off the bat. Now, what was the question again? Why are Redditors the worst? Oh, that's probably because, as Noah said, they don't actually play the game. The competitive Warhammer subreddit is hilarious because you get nuggets of wisdom in there from time to time, because clearly some people who play the game actually are on there, but the overwhelming majority of posters have clearly not played since 7th edition.
7th edition
this
is
isn't
generous.
gatekeeping. We want people to play. We just want you to actually play.
Yeah. JT?
So, echoing Francois, the orc code phrase should be, but it's pretty easy to tell from your logo that you're an orc fan. So, orcs is the biggest and the strongest. DA, not the. Orcs is the biggest and the strongest. That's the code word. Then you know it's an orc fan and a person who knows the game. I hate when people make comments without watching a video. We've had videos on our channel get negative comments before the video has actually even gone live. It's amazing. It boggles my mind. But here's the kick. All engagement is still engagement. The fact that somebody took the time to rag us or be negative is still engaging with the algorithm. It's still giving us likes. It's still giving us hits. It's still pushing our content. I don't mind if somebody wants to take the time to rant about how horrible my t-shirt was or the game was or the paint job was. Doesn't matter to me, because you know what? They took the time out to do that, and thank you very much for the algorithm boost.
All right. Well, I mean, thanks, JT. Redditors, if you hate those responses, head on over to my YouTube channel and comment. But I have some interesting news here. We've hit the end of the show, and just squeaking it out is Noah. No, we didn't actually tell you what your award is for winning the show. You get you get to monologue as long as you want about whatever you want. And just know that the rest of the internet will be able to heal your other hosts. So take it away, Noah. Congratulations.
Well, that's wonderful. I wish I would have prepared anything. So I'm just going to take this moment to say a couple things. I'm going to say some nice things. First, I know that we just talked about we spewed a lot of vitriol about the things we didn't like. But I want to say the thing that has kept me in Warhammer, if you're watching this, is the community. And we need more people in the community. I already got my points. Leave me alone. It's the community.
How do you hit positive
people.
and negative at the same time? Like, ding, how does that work?
It just takes whichever one I hit first, I guess.
So come play Warhammer, even if you haven't played Warhammer. Even if your army's not painted, go to an RTT. They will waive the hobby restriction usually. Play games of Warhammer. If you're like, I haven't played enough games of Warhammer, go to an RTT and play 3 games, be bad at it, and play Warhammer. That's my first thing. Second thing is follow Aegis OP on TikTok. Come follow us. And then shortly thereafter, eventually YouTube. Yeah. So at Aegis OP on TikTok.
And he actually does have entertaining content. It is worth watching.
Try it.
Really good,
try it.
yeah.
I love how reluctant Seth sounded giving that compliment.
You can watch with just it's if you will go start at the beginning of the videos, just watch a 30-year-old, like a 38-year-old man get slowly, mildly competent at TikTok. Like you can see the transition over time. And then
And that's the story we all want to follow.
a couple plugs for like the community is like one is get your ticket to Challengers Cup if you haven't.
It's already
Two
sold
is-
out.
Sold out.
Oh, okay, well, that's great. I'm really excited that that's a thing.
Yeah.
I'm really, really stoked about it. The second thing is there's a whole bunch of 40K charity stuff going on lately. A lot of people are doing it. There's hobby streams. I just saw a charity hobby stream that was going to like somebody's friend's home burned down and they had no insurance and like lost all their stuff. Charity Hammer happens in October. There are a million ways to justify spending too much money on Warhammer and going and doing some cool stuff while contributing to a good cause. So you should definitely take those opportunities.
All right. Well,
That's
boys,
it.
thank you for joining me tonight. Congratulations to our new winner, Noah. But for folks that are watching over on Joe's channel, don't forget to like Joe's stream and help him out and support him there with the memberships and super chats. If you want to contribute to next week's show, head on over to the Wargames Live. Warp News has its own channel in the Discord. Hop on over there. Give me some feedback. Give us some questions for next week. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel or you're watching it on Wargames Live and you want to support my YouTube channel, head on over to my YouTube channel on Monday. Give the video a like and a view and maybe share it around. But until next time, this has been Seth the Mad Dok. Thanking you for watching. Have a good one and take it easy.